All right, my students. So you're getting this because you have finished investigating our final suspect, which is human demands. So let's look at these exhibits together and make sure that you have the right answers. So the first exhibit for this suspect was Exhibit J overall, and this is a California population graph. And the first question that I asked you was to tell me about the population of California right here in 1912. And so when I move over this way, it looks kind of in the middle of 0 and 5 million. I thought it was a little closer to 0. So you'll see that I picked 2 million as the population in 1912. But then when we go over to 2012, which is here on the x-axis, you can see that the population is getting pretty close to 40 million. And our country has a population of about 300 million, so that is significant that California would have, I said it was 38 million people. Now, did you also notice this? If we split the graph in half, so if we took like 1900 to 1950, so right there, we called it section 1. And then from 1950, say, to 2000, and we called that section 2. Would we say that there's been unequal or equal population growth? And for sure, the right answer to question 3 there is that the growth has been unequal. And if someone said, well, how do you know that? We could easily use a math term. And the math term that we would use is the slope. So section number 2 definitely has the highest growth rate, and I know it because it has the greatest slope. So the point of those questions is that there has been a really high growth rate in California in the last 50 to 70 years compared to early on. So California has been experiencing tremendous growth. Now, when you clicked on that link, did you notice that California's population is first by a lot? I believe it's Texas that is in second place, but it's not even close. So here's what we've established with Exhibit J. Okay, California has more people than any state in the US. Recently, it's seen a very high growth rate. So when we look at the suspect called human demands, does this make suspect 4 in the California drought, human demands, look guilty? And so we know that there are a lot of people in California. So you're like, I wonder what this says about the guilt of human demands. Now, our next exhibit, Exhibit K, was this graph to interpret. And this graph shows the water use around our country. Now, the first thing that I wanted you to notice is that this graph, and I think I might need to move myself again. There we go. This graph is from 2015, and that is an important question. And here you can just see it typed for you. That's an important question because that is the height of the California drought. So we're looking at the water use in a year that is really important. And our next question is, well, what state makes the most? Which state has the most water use? And so, did you notice that this, I know it's a little print, but this is California. And it has the most water use by far. Okay, you can see Texas is right here. Just out of curiosity, let's find Ohio. There we are. So Ohio is right there. So we are way less in water use compared to California. Okay, so we have this graph again was 2015 as you check your work. And California's water use is first by a lot. But now let's think about something. Should this be super shocking to us? And the answer to that is no. It shouldn't be shocking that California has the most water use because California is the most populated place. So it would actually be more shocking to me if California ranked 10th or 15th in water use with its population. So the next question is this. Sorry for my pause there. I was just getting my mind right there. So what if we said for Exhibit K, this question: what if the residents of California would just cut back in the water use of their homes? So if they would reduce what they're using, the time that they spend in the shower, say, if they would just do that, would everything be okay? And it makes us go back here. And so when we look at California's bar graph, you notice right here how it says public supply. Public supply means basically water coming to homes and schools and businesses, and this color is only a small part. So would it really help? Well, sure, it'd help a little, but would it solve California's water problems if people took shorter showers and didn't water their lawns? And the answer to that is no. So that should be a disagree. Now, how come though? What is this green color? You notice that that is irrigation. And irrigation basically means watering crops. So that is the highest category of water use in California. It's not what people are using in their homes. So you should have disagreed to question 5. And the reason that we're disagreeing is that most of California's water is used to irrigate crops. Now, I think the most thought-provoking and challenging set of questions for this exhibit were 7 and 8. So the question of that, do you use California's water? Would you disagree or agree with that statement? And you should, and you might need to fix this, agree with it. And here's the reason. We eat a lot of foods that are irrigated, which means watered in California. So when you go to the grocery store, about 40% of the produce there, the fruits and veggies, come from California. So when you bite into a strawberry and it's a juicy strawberry, that juice is actually California's water. Probably, if you look, it'll say if it's grown in California. Let me show you some pictures of this. So here we have a strawberry field, and these are all from California. There you can see the Sierra Nevada mountains in the background. These are the leaves of carrots. The part we eat is actually the root. That's a carrot field. And this is very beautiful. This is a sunflower field. So a lot of our sunflower seeds are actually grown in California. So you for sure are using some of California's water. Okay, now the final exhibit in our whole mystery of what caused the California drought was this New York Times article. And the essential question in this article, I put it this way, you might have said it differently, and still been right. Will California's growth be limited by the lack of water? You might have said, can California keep growing without enough water? And we've seen their population skyrocketing, and there's lots of great things about California that lure people to it. But can it continue with not having enough water? Now, in 2015, the governor was so concerned about this that he put in a 25% cut in water use. That meant every household had to cut back on their water use. And so that's just how dire times have gotten. Now, our final 2 questions. The governor said, and let me make sure I'm getting his quote just right. The governor said, you can't just live the way you always have. Let me say that one more time. You can't just live the way you always have. Now, it's up to you if you agree or disagree with that. It's up to you to explain your reasoning, but I want to show you a couple pictures, and this is the reason that I am in agreement with that governor. So study this with me. Okay, so this is a picture, and this one's from Southern California, of what the land in California should be looking like. The southern part of California is a lot desert. This, on the other side of the road, you can see the golfer there. This is a golf course that has been heavily watered in order to maintain it like that. Like, if there's this big water shortage, I don't see how you can continue to waste water on things like this. Now, look at that. Same thing here. This is a neighborhood that's been put in. Notice all the green lawns and the swimming pools and the palm trees. This is what the ecosystem really should be based on the characteristics of the climate there. So I thought that those 2 pictures were pretty interesting. Now, tomorrow's lesson is a big one. You're going to be prepping for your crime report. You're going to be going back through all the exhibits, finding the main ideas and the key concepts of those exhibits, and making a decision. One of these 4 suspects is the right answer for the prime suspect, and then you can make a case for any of the other 3 to be the accomplice that helped to make the drought worse. All right, I'll check in tomorrow as we prep for our crime report.